My name is Ashley. I work as a mammography technologist at Woodlands Medical Specialist. On my typical day, I'll start with bringing the patient back. We have to do vitals on the patient, which is just their height, weight, and blood pressure, see if they smoke or not. We also, when we bring them back, we have a separate dressing area for just our breast health services. We have to make sure the patient does not have any deodorant on, because some deodorants will have aluminum in it. It'll show up looking like calcifications on an image, and it'll cause them to have additional images. So it's very important to make sure your patients don't have any deodorant or lotion or anything like that on. So we get them changed into a robe. They have to remove their shirt and their bra. They can leave their jewelry on though. Once they're changed, I have to come and get the room set up, make sure I have the correct patient pulled up. If I need an order for the exam, I also have to make sure that I have the correct order for the exam. We bring the patient in the room and take 4 pictures. It's 2 on each breast. I look at the pictures. They come up on a computer screen back at my workstation, and make sure that we have good images before we let the patient go. When I bring the patient into the room, for the first image, she steps and faces toward the machine. Then you place your breast up here, and then this will compress down onto the breast. It goes slowly. It tells you how much compression you have, so you don't compress too much. Once I have her positioned and have as much breast tissue in there as I can get, I go back behind a lead wall to protect myself, because there is a minimal amount of radiation to achieve the image. And then as soon as the picture's done, the compression lets up, and in about a second the picture shows up on my computer screen so that I can see it. And then we do the same for the other 3 pictures. The machine will rotate so that we can get a side view, because when you do imaging, you want to get 2 pictures 90 degrees from each other so that you can see if something is really real or if it's just a shadow or anything like that. It's not as uncomfortable as patients think it will be. Of course it's uncomfortable, but generally it's not painful. You do have to have the patient hold their breath while you take the images, but as soon as the picture is over, which only takes about 2 seconds, the compression releases. So the patient's really not in there. The mammogram itself only takes about 5 minutes at max. Generally it's not much longer unless you're having to do additional images or anything like that. Another part of being a mammographer is you also get to assist with biopsies. That's usually not very often. Usually once a week we get to do one. We assist the radiologist by taking images to localize the calcifications or the area that she's trying to biopsy. The patient has a little needle that you put into the breast that will take samples of that area. The computer localizes the area for us through the pictures that we take, so we know that we're getting the correct specimen for the radiologist. It's a pretty easy procedure, but there is some things associated with it, like needles, and a patient does bleed a little bit because you are making a small incision, but it's pretty easy procedure that you just have to do every now and then. There are certain requirements that you have to be a mammography technologist. You have to start off with going through X-ray school because you have to have a primary certification before you are even allowed to take a post-primary certification such as mammography. So you have to have a radiologic technology license to even be able to sit for your mammography exam. You also have to go through different types of clinical aspects of it. You have to have done 75 mammograms under the supervision of a registered technologist. You have to look over a certain number of exams with a radiologist, and you also have to see a certain amount of the quality control tests that are involved with running a mammography department because of the strict regulations on it. The schooling, you can do a radiologic technology school first, and that usually runs you about 3 years because you'll do the X-ray portion of it first and take your registry, and then you can specialize in mammography, which involves a lot of physics classes and a lot of human anatomy, as well as the learning the positioning and all of your anatomy that you would need to know, because there's a lot more involved with that than you would generally think. Once you have all of your requirements for the test, you have to sit for a test. Generally it takes about 4 hours, but you do know that day after you're done with the exam if you've passed it or not. Some states also require you to be licensed in the state as well as your ART registry, but that varies between different states. You also have to be a very caring person and very friendly because you're dealing with patients, and with mammography you're trying to detect breast cancer. So you can have people coming back for additional images from their regular screening mammogram, and you have to be very understanding to them, because frankly most of them who come in are freaked out because they think that they have breast cancer. Most of the time that's not the case, but you have to show them that you care and that you're here and for their best interest. So you have to be a very positive person who's very caring and has a very good attitude and loves doing what you do. The best part of my job is getting to save people's lives. While I may not play a huge role in the treatment of someone who has breast cancer, I'm the one who can find it the earliest. With mammography, you can catch breast cancer at the earliest stage, whereas other tests at this point you cannot. You can see little calcifications on a mammogram that you can't see on the others, which can be the earliest stage of breast cancer. And when you catch it at that stage, it's a lot easier to treat the patient. That's also the worst part. You see, it always seems like it's the nicest people, the most friendly people that it always happens to, and you have to see that happen. You have to see them diagnosed with cancer and see them face what's going to happen. But you also get to see them come back after they've had surgery or radiation, because they're going to continue coming to see you. So you get to build a small relationship with them, which is very rewarding, coming from a family history of breast cancer. That's one reason why I chose this job. But like I said, that also could be the worst part of the job as well, because you have to be there to comfort them. You also have to think about the fact that your patients come in and you ask them not to wear deodorant on. So if you're very squeamish or anything like that, you may not want to pick a job like this, because your patient is a 4 o'clock patient. All day long they're supposed to go without deodorant on, and so they come in and they may not be the freshest. So you just have to think about that as well. You have to do biopsies as well as just mammograms under the stereotactic guidance with the mammography unit. So you have to think about that. If you're squeamish or if you don't do blood very well, you might not want to choose mammography, because it's not just taking the pictures.